boa species found in South America. It is one of the longest and heaviest known extant snake species. Like all boas, it is a non-venomous constrictor. Green anacondas only have a lifespan of 10 years in the wild. Green anacondas have a lifespan of 10 years in the wild, although some specimens live longer when they are taken care of in captivity. Green anacondas live in tropical rainforests and tend to prefer shallow, slow-moving waters such as streams, rivers, and flooded grasslands. They spend most of their time in the water, but are also found on land in thick vegetation. In the famous 10th edition of the Systema Naturae of 1758, Carl Linnaeus cited descriptions by Alberta Seba and by Lawrence Theodorus Gronovius to erect the distinct species Murina of his new genus Boa, which contained 8 other species, including boa constrictor. The generic name boa came from an ancient Latin word for a type of large snake. The first specimens of boa murina were of immature individuals from 75 to 90 centimeters, 2.5 to 3 feet in length. In 1830, Johann George Wagler erected the separate genus Eunectus for Linnaeus's boa murina, after more and larger specimens were known and described. Because of the masculine gender of Eunectus, the feminine Latin specific name Urina was changed to Murinus. Linnaeus almost certainly chose the scientific name Boa murina based on the original Latin description given by Albertus Seba in 1735, Serpens testudinea americana, Miriam insidia tortoise pattern spotted American snake, a predator that lies in wait for mice and rats. The Latin adjective murina, in this case would mean of mice or connected with mice, understood in context as preying on mice, and not as mouse gray colored. Another possible meaning of Latin murinus, as now often wrongly indicated, for emurinus. Early English language sources, such as George Shaw, referred to the boa murina as the rat boa. The Penny Cyclopedia, Volume 5, entry for boa explained, quote, "The trivial name murina was given to it from being said to lie in wait for mice." Linnaeus described the appearance of the boa murina in Latin as rufus maculus supra rotundatus, meaning reddish-brown with rounded spots on upper parts. It made no reference to a gray coloration. Early descriptions of the green anaconda by different authors variously referred to the general color, like brown, glaucous, green, or gray. Common names for emurinus include green anaconda, common anaconda, and water boa. The word Akiyama and variants Okoimo, have been used by the local Carib people to refer to the green anaconda for centuries before its formal scientific description. The name Akiyama comes from the local Caribbean languages, with Akai meaning snake and the suffix ima describing largeness in a way that elevates the term to a separate category. Giving a literal meaning of the great snake. Several proposals have subspecies from the green anaconda, such as Eunectes gigas, Eunectes barbori, and Eunectes hakayama. These proposed species are now considered synonymous with Emurinus. The green anaconda is the world's heaviest and one of the world's longest snakes, reaching a length of up to 6.32 meters, 20 feet 9 inches long. More typical mature specimens reportedly can range up to 5 meters, 16 feet 5 inches, with adult females with a main length of about 4.6 meters, 15 feet 1 inch, being generally much larger than males, which average around 3 meters, 9 foot 10 inches. Weights are less well studied. They reportedly range from 30 to 80 kilograms, 66 to 176 pounds in a typical adult. It is the largest snake native to the Americas, although it is slightly shorter than the reticulated python. Reticulated python, it is far bulkier. The bulk of a 5.2 meter, 17 foot 1 inch green anaconda is comparable to that of a 7.4 meter, 24 foot 3 inch reticulated python. Reports of anacondas 11 to 12 meters, 35 to 40 feet, or even longer also exist, but such claims must be regarded with caution, as no specimens of such lengths have ever been deposited in a museum, and hard evidence is lacking. The longest and heaviest verified specimen encountered by Jesus Antonio Rivas, though it examined more than 1,000 anacondas, was a female 5.21 meters, 17 foot 1 inch long, and weighing 97.5 kilograms, 214 pounds, 15 ounces. In 1937, a specimen shot in Guyana was claimed to have measured 5.9 meters, 19 feet 4 inches long, and weighed 163 kilograms, 359 pounds, 6 ounces. The color pattern consists of an olive green background overlaid with black blotches along the length of the body. The head is narrow compared to the body, usually with distinctive orange-yellow striping on either side. The eyes are set high on the head, allowing the snake to see out of the water while swimming without exposing its body. The anaconda's jawbones splay open at the front because they are loosely connected by flexible ligaments instead of bone. This allows it to swallow prey larger than the size of its head. The windpipe in its mouth allows it to breathe while swallowing its prey. Its largest internal organ is the liver. That makes sense. That's also the case with sharks like the great white. The great white, their liver is about a third the size of their bodies, and this is common with animals who where digestion is a really extra important adaptation, because like with sharks, for example, are kind of, they do a lot of indiscriminate hole scientists, as such individuals may at worst be more interested in promoting themselves or telling a good tale, or at the least may not be sufficiently trained in proper measurement methods. Observational reports of animals that were not captured are even more dubious, as even trained scientists often substantially overestimate the size of anacondas prior to capture. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, this species has been perhaps subject to the most extreme size exaggerations of any living animal. Numerous historical accounts of great anacondas are reported, often of improbable sizes. Several zoologists, notably Henry Walter Bates and Alfred Russel Wallace, among others, know rumors of snakes beyond 9 or 12 meters, 30 or 40 feet long, but in each case, their direct observations were limited to snakes around 6 meters, 20 feet in length. Numerous estimates and second-hand accounts abound, but are generally considered unreliable. To prove the point of overestimating, in Guyana in 1937, zoologist Alpheus Hyatt Farrell asked the expedition team he was with to estimate the length of a large curled-up anaconda on a rock. I mean, that sounds hard, to be fair. The team's guesses ran from 6.1 to 18.3 meters, 20 feet to 60 feet. When measured, the specimen was found to be 5.9 meters, 19 feet 4 inches. Almost all specimens in excess of 6 meters, 20 feet, including a much bubble-sized specimen, allegedly 11.36 meters, 37 feet 3 inches long, have no voucher specimens, including skins or bones. The skin of one specimen, stretched at 10 meters, 32 feet 10 inches, has been preserved in the Instituto Butantan in Sao Paulo and is reported to have come from an anaconda of 7.6 meters, 24 feet 11 inches in length, while in Colombia in 1978, herpetologist William W. Lamar had an encounter with a large female specimen, 7.5 meters, 24 feet 7 inches long, estimated to weigh between 136 and 180 kilograms, 300 and 397 pounds. In 1962, W.L. Schurz claimed to have measured a snake in Brazil of 8.46 meters, 27 feet 9 inches, with a maximum girth of 112 centimeters, 3 feet 8 inches. One female, reportedly measuring 7.9 meters, 25 feet 11 inches in length, shot in 1963 in Arriva Swamp, Trinidad, contained a 1.5 meter, 4 foot 11 inch caiman, a specimen of 7.3 meters, 23 feet 11 inches, reportedly with a weight of 149 kilograms, 328 pounds, was caught at the mouth of the Cascade River in Guyana, having been restrained by 13 local men, and was later airlifted for a zoo collection in the United States, but died in ill health shortly thereafter. The largest size verified for E. marinus in captivity was for a specimen kept in Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium, which grew to a length of 6.27 meters, 20 feet 7 inches by the time she died on July 20th, 1960. When this specimen was 5.94 meters, 19 feet 6 inches long, she weighed 91 kilograms, 200 pounds, 10 ounces. The estimated weight for an anaconda in the range of 8 meters, 26 feet, would be at least 200 kilograms, 441 pounds. The minimum size of breeding anacondas in a survey of 780 individuals was 2.1 meters, 6 feet 11 inches in snout fin length, indicating that the maximum size attained by anacondas following this pattern would be 5.3 meters, 17 feet 5 inches in snout fin length. However, most anacondas are captured from the llanos, which is more accessible to humans and has smaller prey available, while the rainforest, which is much less explored, has more plentiful larger prey, maybe home to larger snakes. The green anaconda is an apex predator, positioning it at the top of the food chain. Eunectes marinus is found in South America, east of the Andes, in countries including Colombia, Venezuela, the Guianas, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Brazil, the island of Trinidad, and as far south as northern Paraguay. The type locality given is America. In April 2021, green anacondas were added to Florida's list of prohibited non-native species. As of August 2023, 11 green anacondas have been verifiably observed in the wild in Florida, including one juvenile found in the Florida Everglades. The range of these specimens, some of which were able to evade capture, spans from Gainesville to Homestead, Florida, a distance of over 350 miles, 560 kilometers. Florida is the only state in the continental United States with suitable habitat for the species. While individual specimens have been observed or captured in Florida dating back to 2010, as of 2023, there is no known established population. However, the ecological, economic, and safety risks posed by their existence in the state are deemed very high by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, with the ecological threat reaching the extreme risk level, as introduced anacondas are apex predators, able to compete with Florida's native species and potentially prey on native wildlife, such as white-tailed deer, American alligators, American crocodiles, wading birds, other birds, mammals, and reptiles. I did see footage of an anaconda and a crocodile fighting in the water, and it was a pretty well-matched fight. It was pretty horrifying. Anacondas are mostly nocturnal and aquatic. They float underwater and are known to swim quickly. Their eyes and nose are located on the top of the head, allowing the snake to breathe and watch for prey while the rest of the body is hidden underwater. When prey passes by or stops to drink, the anaconda strikes without eating or swallowing it and coils around it with its body, then constricts and suffocates the prey to death. Anacondas are apex predators with a wide variety of prey, almost anything they can overpower, including fish, amphibians, birds, various mammals, and other reptiles. Particularly large anacondas may consume tapirs, deer, peccaries, capybaras, jaguars, and caimans, but such large meals are rare. Juvenile anacondas feed on small birds and young caiman, typically 40 to 70 grams, 1.4 to 2.5 ounces in weight. As they develop, their diet becomes increasingly complex. Prey availability varies more in grasslands than in river basins. In both habitats, green anacondas have been found to feed on large prey, usually 14 to 50% of their own mass. Examples of prey include broad-snouted caimans, spectacled caimans, yakari caimans, black caimans, Some feed on carrion and conspecifics, usually inside or around water. Large anacondas can go weeks to months without food after a large meal because they have a low metabolism. Females have increased postpartum feeding to recover from their reproductive investment. Many local stories and legends report anacondas feeding on humans, but there is little evidence of this. Cannibalism among green anacondas is known. Most recorded cases involving a larger female consuming a smaller male. Scientists hypothesize several explanations, including the great sexual dimorphism of the species and a female's need for food after breeding said to sustain the long gestation. The nearby male simply provides the opportunistic female a ready source of nutrition. In southeastern Peru, potential prey of green anacondas include collared peccaries, lowland vacas, brocket deer, brown agotas, coquay herons, neotropical otters, galtegas, spectacled caiman, and giant otters. That'd be an interesting fight. Observations show that green anacondas may climb to the top of trees for prey, such as green iguanas and brown-throated sloths, demonstrating the willingness to leave their preferred habitat for prey. Green anacondas may even target domestic prey, including domestic dogs, chickens, cattle, water buffalo, sheep, domestic cats, and wild boar. Although the green anaconda is an apex predator, even large adult specimens are part of the diet of Orinoco crocodiles, black caimans, and jaguars. Individuals are solitary until the mating season, which occurs during the rainy season and can last several months, usually from April to May. Typically, females leave pheromone trails for males to follow, but how males track it is unclear. It may be that the pheromone is airborne. This theory is supported by the observation of females that remain motionless, while many males move towards them from all directions. Male anacondas also often flick their tongues to sense chemicals that signal the presence of a female. Often many males find the same female and wrap around her to copulate with her. Such a breeding ball of up to 12 males can stay in this position for 2 to 4 weeks as males wrestle in slow motion to mate with the female. During mating, males use their spurs to arouse the female. They aggressively press their cloacal regions hard against the female body while continuously scratching her with their spurs. This can produce a scratching sound. Mating approaches its climax when the stimulus of the male's spurs induces the female to raise her cloacal region, allowing the cloacae of the two snakes to move together. The male then coils his tail around the female and they copulate. Often, the strongest and largest male wins, but the females may choose another male as they are much larger and stronger. Courtship and mating occur almost exclusively in water. Mating is followed by a gestation period of 6 to 7 months. This species is ovoviviparous, with females giving birth to live young. Litters usually consist of 20 to 40 offspring, although as many as 100 may be produced. After giving birth, females may lose up to half their weight. Neonates are around 70 to 80 centimeters, 2 feet 4 inches to 2 feet 7 inches long, and receive no parental care. Because of their small size, they often fall prey to other animals. If they survive, they grow quickly until sexual maturity in a few years, then grow more slowly when no males are available. Facultative Parthogenesis is possible, producing viable homozygous litter. In 2014, a green anaconda in West Midland Safari Park gave birth to 3 young through Parthogenesis. Parthogenesis is so cool. It's one of the weirdest things animals do. Life Johannesburg, South Africa. Anacondas have been portrayed in horror literature and films, often incredibly gigantic, agile, and with the ability to swallow adult humans. These traits are occasionally attributed to other species, such as the Burmese python and the reticulated python, but to less extent than to the green anaconda. Despite having the capability to overpower a man, there is no verified evidence of the species consuming humans, unlike the reticulated python. This is possibly because large specimens inhabit remote areas deep inside the Amazon jungle, which is isolated from humans, unlike the python in Asia.